where do you see your political awakening and awareness? Where do you see that intersecting with your music in terms of you know, as I reflect back on a lot of your recordings, I can't think of any of your recordings that don't have at least something of a political perspective in the music. Where did those two schools of thought intersect for you?
Well, I don't see how an African American, a black person in this country, can express an aesthetic idea without there having some political implication. For example, when Marian Anderson was refused to sing at the Lincoln Memorial by the Daughters of the American Revolution, suddenly something that should have been about music was about nasty politics and racism and the Civil War and things that had never been resolved. And I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that made it possible for her to finally render this performance. But when we think of Marian Anderson, in a way we should think of her, we should think of music. But when I think of Marian Anderson, I think of a fighter and a beautiful woman who sang beautiful songs, but who had to fight for her career, for her people, and who helped to clarify problems that we still confront.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would put Paul Robeson in that category as well.
Absolutely.
Some research right now on something most people don't know about, which were the 1949 Peekskill riots.
Yeah, I know about that.
Being a suburb of New York City, not exactly supposedly a bastion of ignorance, but when Paul Robeson was scheduled there to do a concert in 1949, there was a riot because of his political views. You're familiar with this, Archie?
I'm familiar with it. I was in Peekskill years later as an activist during the Civil Rights Movement, and I still had a kind of feeling of fear being in the town because I knew the history of Paul Robeson. I was there with a friend of mine handing out pamphlets, and I was just hoping that there wouldn't be another riot while we were there. There was no reason for there to be.